Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I'm Leon Thomas. I'm joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. I downloaded the new version of Skype that's been available for, I think, like a year. But like I got forced to do it or something or whatever.
Are you still running Windows 7, Leon? Or did you, did you do the 10 upgrade? Were you like,
No,
I'm going to skip the next 3?
No, we've talked about this. I bought a new computer, but it was it had Windows 10. Yeah, but it was broken, and I sent it back and said, "Hey, it's broken." And then they're like, "I don't know, we'll inspect it." And they say, "Yup," and then they gave me all my money back, which was nice. But now I have my old computer again, and it has Windows 7. But I'm fine with it. I'm fine. I'm just gonna try again to buy a new computer next year. You're
not going to get Windows 7 on that one, just so you know.
I know. It'll also have Windows 10, and it was fine. It was mostly fine. It's fine. All right. So anyway, hi, I'm Leon. Blah blah blah. Is there stuff? I'm feeling good right now. I am feeling real good. I'm going on my trip to Canada tomorrow night,
which is a great place to visit.
It is. I actually talked about this on Twitter. I said, like, it's nice to get. Will be nice to go to like a country that's run by like a moderate liberal,
just slightly to the left of center.
Yeah. But for America, it's different though. That to us, he's like a radical. It's very strange. But it would be nice to go to a country where just the ruler is not a cruel authoritarian. So that's fine. We're recording this Wednesday night. I leave late Thursday night. I'm driving there, and that hurts, but that's the way it is. So I'll have like notes from when I return. But right now I'm just excited and smooth, of course, to make me feel comfortable and confident going into it.
Pretty smooth, as I understand.
Oh, yes, I'm very smooth right now. I have to go once more over in the shower later, but then I'll be perfectly smooth.
Right
on. So that's what's going on with me, which isn't much. Do any of you guys have, like, actual topics you'd like to talk about?
Before we continue, okay, I just want to preface my performance for the rest of this episode, by saying that my speech patterns and cadence might seem a little different than it usually does. Both of you guys know, and probably listeners as well from past podcasts, if you've been with us at least for like half a year, we'll say, that within the last 6 months, I have gone on anti-anxiety medication that has given me a cavalcade of interesting side effects, one of which has been kind of surprising, let's say, muscle excitement. Sometimes it's shaking, sometimes it's like spasms, and I had a couple of days this week of pretty bad spasms that got into my jaw. And as a result, there were like 2 days this week where I involuntarily bit my tongue super hard in the same place about 5 times. So, like, the whole left side of my tongue is chewed up right now and sore, and it makes speaking a little difficult. So, bear with me here. If I'm not rapid fire Johnny.
Yeah, if you like suddenly scream out in pain, we will know what's going on.
Don't you worry. It's full of morphine. I took a couple of injections, which is...
Oh, my.
Yeah, so I might start to dip out at the end of the podcast. Don't do drugs, kids.
Yeah, I mean, or do them, whatever. We're not your parents.
Speaking of medical conditions, I've been exploring a radical new treatment this past couple of weeks. Exploring's a strong word.
Being poor?
That's the regimen that's worth discussing. But no, all the millennials are talking about it. We're all psyched about the possibility of drinking the red liquid from the dark sarcophagus.
Ah!
Are you guys aware of the red liquid from the dark sarcophagus?
I've heard of it.
I
don't-
have expected to see like a clone of me, like that scene in Empire Strikes Back where Luke is in the cave and he like chops Darth Vader's head off and then it's his face. I have expected them to open the sarcophagus and I would like pop out and be like, "Surprise, bitches!"
So the time machine malfunctioned. Thank you for freeing me. No, so they found a strange black sarcophagus, they being people who find sarcophagi.
In Egypt.
Yeah,
So
and
this
they opened
wasn't
it.
like in Denver or anything like that. This is like
Yeah.
we're talking old god shit,
So they opened it, they found a bunch of skeletons and some red liquid. And my favorite part about this probably important discovery that I'm ignoring all the real implications of is that someone started a change.org petition to let people drink the red liquid from the dark sarcophagus. Quote, from the campaign on change.org, where I am now, and it has 25,590 signatures. Quote, "We need to drink the red liquid from the cursed dark sarcophagus in the form of some sort of carbonated energy drink so we can assume its powers and finally die."
Either that, or it might bestow immunity of the oncoming apocalypse to those who are willing to submit themselves to the essence of the Dark Lord.
When they got to 10,000 signatures, the person who started the petition made an update. Wow, 10k sigs. Thank you so much for your deep and personal reasons for wanting to drink the cursed mummy milkshake. I swear, I will keep fighting to allow you to sup.
I'm pretty sure we could finally die any number of ways, but that would... I mean,
It
I don't
seems,
know why...
seems the most appropriate given the age and time that we're in,
There's a section on this page for people who wrote in their reason for signing the petition. The first reason is, quote, "I just want to try the juice."
There better be a reason on there that's like, it can't be any worse than what's going on right now.
Second reason, quote, "thirsty."
Now, Austin, did you sign the petition?
Not yet. I've been trying to get a bunch of us to do it together as some sort of death pact.
I'm ready to go.
Hold on, where is it? Change.org? Hold on.
Yeah, I could drop a link in the Skype, but yeah,
Okay.
there's the
Are
whole
we going to
thing
do
is
it?
very
Should we
good.
do it live? Are we going to do it live?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to.
All right, I put a link in there.
All right.
I'm just gonna read comments while you guys sign the petition.
Okay.
Quote, all caps, "We demand access to imbibe the cursed elixir." Oh, fuck. They're all very good.
Okay, all right, there we
We're
go.
gonna have to cut out a bunch of silence because we're all actually doing this.
I'm using my real address, my real email address, so I'm gonna not display my name. Pardon me, not display my name and comment on this petition. Just if we're okay with that, is that all right?
Whatever you need to be comfortable to line up for this just delicious mummy slurry.
All right. Please check your email for a link to the login account.
Yeah, so that's what's been going on in, I would say, the most important news. There's other things, like there's, I don't know, some recordings of some kind of government malfeasance. Who cares? Something about impeaching the guy in charge of the investigation. Who cares? Nobody cares. Not important. What?
Okay.
Business. I don't think it's nobody cares, but I think it's fair to say business as usual.
Mm-hmm. Same old, same old.
Yeah. And until, something radical happens, I don't know, somebody just, rides into Congress, on a Harley that, spits flames, and does a sweet-ass backflip, and, plays a guitar solo, then whips a sword out and points it at someone. It's like, you're going to hell! And then, angels come down. If that shit happened, I'm like, whoa! Government just got awesome.
Fox wouldn't even cover it. It would just be like, is Obama turning your kids gay?
No, they'd
more
be
11.
they'd be like, Hillary Clinton put drugs in the water.
Yeah. So I have a lot of things to talk about, but I thought I'd start with the cursed elixir because I've been thinking about it a lot recently.
I signed. How do you see what I signed, or should I just tell you? Because I see it scrolling saying Leon Thomas signed 2 minutes ago, but I don't know where to check. Like,
I'm not familiar with their interface. You can just tell us.
I'm not
okay.
getting the login link here.
No, that's okay. I said I thought Free Slurpee Day was last week.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nope. All I just see is a bunch of Kickstarter updates.
All right. Well, we'll troubleshoot this later.
We'll get there.
Do you guys?
We'll get there.
Do you guys? Okay. So we all need to talk about. Sorry to bother you. I think we should save it to the end.
Okay.
Because it's impossible to talk about without spoilers.
That was not the only movie that I saw this week, actually.
If there's other ones, you got to talk about
Johnny.
it,
Johnny was kind of social. I had an opportunity, and I know Leon's going to like this, to see a remastered version of Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker in theaters.
Ooh. I'm a little jealous.
Because the only time I'd ever seen Stalker was back in 1997, and it was on this ratty old VHS that I rented from Rogers Video, which is more or less the Canadian equivalent of Blockbuster, even though we did have Blockbuster. It never really had a big footprint in the West. So it's been 20 years since I've seen that movie. And I called 5 of my friends, and I was like, oh shit, we gotta go see Stalker! And it was great.
Yeah, that's my favorite Tarkovsky film.
Oh, it's so good. It is so good. And I'm a little disappointed though, because the theater was fucking packed. And the scene where the telephone rings, and the guy picks it up and is like, no, this isn't the fucking clinic! And hangs it up, and then they argue for 30 seconds, and then all stop and kind of stare at the phone. We were the only 5 people who laughed at that. I was so disappointed.
Oh.
I just got my login link.
There you go. So yeah, I love that movie. I think it's super great. It is probably one of my favorite movies. I may have added it to my big favorite movie list on Letterboxd, but I don't want to check right now. But yeah, that is an excellent film. I've never seen it in theaters. I've only seen it at home. But yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah.
Austin, have you ever seen it?
Have you seen Stalker, Austin?
Yes, a long time ago when I was going through a fucking
an art cinema phase.
No, it was specifically a Metro 2033 phase.
Okay. Now, Austin,
I was trying to think of a better way to say that.
That's a very specific
Stalker,
phase.
The video game, haven't you?
That was part of the phase, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I call it a phase and not just I played a video game.
Okay.
Yeah, Roadside Picnic, Metro, Stalker, other Stalker. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Okay, cool.
It's just Soviet misery porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried playing Metro before. I did not care for it. But yeah, that's to be expected for me.
You're I'm a disappointment.
It is.
So. Okay, all right. What do you think of this comment? Look, if we've managed to distill the apocalypse into an easy-to-consume liquid form, who am I to resist?
There you go. I can't argue with that.
All right, so
it's sad that I can't, but
yeah, I do there's something to be said about millennial humor almost always ending up being extremely dark. It's always just lol, kill me, or death is coming. It's just there's never any pulling the punches on that. We're all gallows humor.
Yeah, guess I'll die, I believe, is the meme.
Do you guys figure, because as life goes on, it basically just becomes more and more difficult to live, because our earning potential keeps decreasing, but things keep getting more and more expensive?
Yeah, I mean, also just that we have so many responsibilities. In the old days, you could just go to work and then you come home and you just had the rest of your life. But now you're expected to constantly be available. If your boss wants to call you or email you or whatever, you have to, fucking baby all these different social media accounts to have a presence and a brand, depending on your industry.
I am a brand, by the way.
Which is exhausting, which means you're always working.
But Leon is also his own boss.
That's true.
So, at any point in time, Leon can go, nah, fuck this for right now.
Yeah, I actually made a decision like an hour ago. Basically, my show, there's 5 new episodes a month, and it's been that way for years. But this month, because of a convention I did last month and a convention I'm about to do this month, I'm like, you know what? I think it's okay just once in the past few years to only have 4 episodes this month. Who can stop me? So that is what I decided like an hour ago.
I see your comment, Leon.
No, there you go. All right, it happened. There it is. The world can see it now. All right, so yeah, but that won't be a normal thing because I can't afford to keep doing that. So that's just literally the only time I'm going to do that anytime soon. What else can we talk about?
A lot
this week. Yeah, I have a thing, but it's like dumb.
I have.
That's my favorite kind.
I have for once like quite a few things actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, hit me with your thing.
We're up to it in things, guys. We got things coming out the things.
I got things leaking out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right. First of all, I'm gonna try and bridge a gap here. Okay. Because it's gonna be a video game. All right.
Okay.
Which might grab Austin. But it's also Star Trek.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a wrestling video game.
No. Which might grab Leon.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what this is, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I heard there were Borg.
Yeah. So I believe I talked about it last year when it came out. Ubisoft released a Star Trek Bridge Simulator game. And when it came out, it was like all new Trek, like J.J. Abrams Trek, J.J. Abrams, and it was really good. It was really like I didn't get a whole lot of people to play at first because obviously the VR community is a lot smaller just than the video game community. But it wasn't too long before they released a non-VR version where people who have VR sets can play with them. So, at that point in time, I jumped back in. I was like, let's go! And it was pretty funny because I would be like the only person on the bridge who could do things like point at people and actually gesture with my hands and like turn and look at people and things like that because you can't do that with the mouse and keyboard or things like that. So whenever I played with people who were just using basic controls, I would always kind of leave them in stitches because I'd be sitting at the helm and they'd be like, helm, set a course for this. I'd be like, right away, Captain, after I dab. And then you could do that, right?
Oh my.
Yeah. But very recently, they did probably like the thing that I wished so hard for ever since I was a weein. They just released a DLC for Star Trek The Next Generation. And they've recreated the bridge of the Enterprise D.
Sure.
And it's beautiful. It is like, it fills my heart with joy. And they've added a bunch of missions as well, because there's several ways to play the game. There's like a campaign where you go through the whole J.J. Abrams Star Trek and like follow a storyline and things like that. But then they just have this like continuous patrol thing where you just like, you go, give me a mission, and it will procedurally generate a mission. So you'll go out and like, investigate anomalies and get attacked by whomever. And, in the original one, it was like, the Klingons, oh no. And it was all the old style things. But like the new Next Generation DLC has like the Romulans and the Borg. And I think it has the Cardassians, but I don't know for sure yet. I read somewhere that a guy was like, yeah, I got attacked by Cardassians, but it was a really isolated fucking Reddit post, and a lot of people were like, bullshit. But yeah, being attacked by the Borg is pretty like, oh my god, it's Wolf 359, only not quite because it's just one cube and it's really fucking hard.
Did you die?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm only a lieutenant commander.
Oh, okay.
Well, as you play the game, you actually get like ranks and things like that, and it's like, hey, congratulations, well, yeah.
Wait a minute. If you're lieutenant commander, how are you captaining the Enterprise?
Well,
is everyone sick that day?
No, because you when you go in, you can choose a role, right?
Oh, okay.
So you can
Gotcha.
it's mostly a 4-player game where somebody plays the captain, somebody plays helm, somebody plays tactical, and somebody plays engineering. Although they change it up in the next generation, where instead of engineering, you play ops.
Oh.
And so, like, instead of being Scotty, where, like, you manage power to the engines and things like that, Ops manages power to the engines, but also manages, like, where crew have to assign themselves best. So you have to be like, I need more crew in engineering because we have to make sure that the warp core stays up. I need more crew in the Jeffries tubes because there's structural damage going on and things like that. And it's just like, And it's one of the interesting things about it is that they've actually tapped IBM to use Watson's technology. So even if you play single player, where you automatically kind of have to be the captain, you can train the game to recognize your voice and give voice commands. So you can actually be like, helm to warp, engage. Yeah. And it's like, and I've never felt more amazing in my life. It's a beautiful thing. And Leon, you could play this game too with me.
How? I don't have any of those things.
Well, no, because there's a non-VR version.
Okay, but like in what?
Like on
computer?
It's on Steam, yeah.
There's no way my computer runs.
Well,
what are the system requirements? Hold on. I'm gonna look up the system requirements.
I don't have them right in front of me. Okay.
I'm gonna look it up right now because I think this will actually be kind of funny. Bridge crew.
It's called, yeah, Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Okay, just give me 1 second because I think this will actually be kind of fun.
That would be like, I mean, the last time we all played a game together, it was Farm Simulator. So I'm just gonna throw a side note out there. All right, if any listeners want to jump on the bridge of the Enterprise D with me and just drive the D into deep space at warp speed, let me know on Twitter at Scatterbrains.
All right. The thing I want to talk about this week is super dumb. I just want to very quickly do it because I hope it will be funny. It might not be, but here goes. There's two things I noticed on my dating app that for me that are just kind of funny because I keep seeing them. So I feel like being like a really hacky 80s like comedian and saying, what is the deal with all the women who, as if like I'm noticing something that nobody's ever noticed before. But here they are. Things I've noticed about women that are like unusual that I wanted to notice. One is that they all see. I shouldn't say they all. That's a really shitty thing to say. A lot of them on this particular dating app that I keep looking at seem to like the show The Office, but not so much like it, but want to emulate it in their life.
Oh, they're all looking for their character, aren't they?
Yeah,
I see that. I know that. Ow!
Yeah. That they keep saying, I'm just looking for the Jim to my Pam. And I'm like, first of all, so you want a relationship that's good in the build-up, but then boring for like 5 more years? Sure, I could probably fulfill that for you. But that doesn't sound exciting. I hear that a lot, and also I'm looking for the Ben to my Leslie from Parks and Rec. Look, I liked both of those shows. That's cool. But that doesn't fill me with confidence, I guess you could say, that this is probably a good idea, is what I'm trying to say. Because I'm like a person. I'm like real. I'm like I have like the normal amount of flaws
I don't
that people
believe
have.
you, Leon. I don't think you're real.
Yeah, Jim and Ben have flaws that are adorable and like endearing. I'm like a person.
What's the male version of this? Is it like I'm looking for the gadget hack wrench to my whatever the man is in that show?
The gadget hack wrench to my Chip and Dale.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, that is a thing.
In a Jungian sense, don't Chip and Dale really just represent the two sides of the male presence?
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're ego and superego, definitely. I haven't seen that show since I was like 4. I don't remember anything about it.
I can still sing the Cuckoo Cola theme, but I'm not going to.
All I remember is the time we talked about it because Leon found like a cult that worships gadget hack wrench, and I just came back to
the other thing that here's the funny thing. When someone says not looking for drama, that sounds really appealing for a lot of people. But here's the thing. I am. So
I'm a messy bitch who loves drama.
Every single time I read that, I'm like, that's not me. No.
Right.
That is not me.
One of the best things that my ex-wife and I can still do together that is just wonderful is gossip. And if you don't want to do that with me, like what are we even striving for? So that's not going to happen. That's all I wanted to say about this stupid app. I'm probably going to delete it. Nothing is happening. I don't know if it would be kind of arrogant for me to think it's the app's problem and not mine.
I'm extremely dateable. What's happening?
You're so ready to blame yourself, Leon, instead of the rest of the world.
Yeah, it is almost certainly me. So but just to remove the variable from this, I'm going to download a different app and do roughly the same thing.
And you should just use as your profile picture, Jim from The Office, and just be like, "Bio, what up? It's me, Jim from The Office."
Did you guys see earlier today that Sadness tried to pick me up on
I saw that. How did that go for you?
I was like, nope. Nope. We're already involved enough. I don't need to make it serious.
Yep. Okay. So that's really what I wanted to say this week. I could talk about the fact that I liked that I can't pronounce his name, or his last name, but that musician that Johnny said would be good. Chris Keane.
Oh yeah, Chris Keane. Yeah.
I did say it right.
Yeah.
Okay. He's good. The end. I don't have any great thing more to say about that.
Anybody who's interested in Chris Keane, did I talk about him on the last podcast?
I can't remember if we talked about it on air or just when we got off the air.
I think maybe we did, but just in case, if you guys go to Bandcamp and look up Chris Keane, and that's Kiehne, right? He's got a couple of amazing albums on there. Pray for Daylight, which is a concept album about a zombie apocalypse, but it's a lot more touching than you might think. And then The Holy Court of Baltimore, which is kind of loosely based around Hamlet. Those are the two big ones that I recommend right there. They're phenomenal albums.
That is it for me this week. I could talk about the fact that I watched 50 Shades Freed but like, what could I possibly say that wouldn't be like the coldest take? You know, like it was bad, and it had a lot of here's what the movie is like. Porn. This is the third one.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's 50 Shades of Grey, 50 Shades Darker, and 50 Shades Free, right. Johnny. Okay. Keep up.
Sorry. I'm just, I got so obsessed with the first novel. I just read it over and over and over again.
It's fine. But yeah, 50, when people say, "Oh, this is just like porn that they can put in theaters," not really, but also yes. And I mean that because it is structured the way that I have been led to believe that porn with plot is. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've never seen porn, but I don't watch porn movies like porn parody movies where there's like a story. And then like the story breaks and they have sex and the story starts back up and then it's like that. That is actually what this movie is like, and not so much the first one, but the third one is definitely like that. There's these very abrupt breaks from this stalker storyline where they just have sex, and it is like mostly unrelated to all the other things. In the first movie, I will give it this: at least the sex scenes furthered the plot. It's basically screenwriting 101. Each scene should have consequences to the next one.
But Leon, by the third movie, don't you know that if a woman gives sex to a man, she can change him?
Oh my God! Stop right now. So, but no. In all seriousness, like in the third movie, it doesn't work that way. There's just these mostly unrelated sex scenes that don't. One of them does progress the plot because it has immediate consequences. But most of the sex in the movie is just, well, I guess it's time for more sex making, and then they do. I don't like to watch anything where the genre is called erotic something, and we've talked about this, but I also feel like if you're going to have uncomfortable peach fuzz sex scenes in your movies, then at least it should make sense. But it doesn't. Like you could watch the airplane version of this movie where all the sex is gone, and it would still be virtually identical, which is not true of the previous installments. So I don't know why. But this is somehow the worst of the three. This did not live up to the standards set by the first film.
Can I just
Leon only likes classy porn movies like the Office parody The Orifice.
Look, can I just jump in here really quickly and just say that like when you're talking about erotica, one of the most important things is tension.
Okay.
Like it's about subtext, Like some of the sexiest things that you can have in literature, in art, in movies is subtext. It's about people who are talking about like eating dinner, but you look at them and you're like, oh, they're talking about how much they want to fuck.
Okay.
And by the time you get to the third movie, whatever, it's a real easy, lazy shortcut to be like, I guess they fuck a lot, because that's sexy, right?
Well, it's also just, I mean, it almost makes sense, like, if this were a real story, because they're married now, and there's nothing, like, keeping them apart or any weird, like, hang-ups about whether or not they will sign the contract or anything like that. They're just like a married couple who have, like, a healthy sex life, and so we see that. So if this were a real story, like this were a documentary, this would all make perfect sense. But since it is fiction and supposed to be engaging on some level, it's just kind of, it falls a little flat.
But that's like that's the question, right? Like, is porn really so much erotic because it's people that just kind of like get right down to fucking most of the time, and it's not. There's no tension, there's no build-up, there's no release. It just kind of like happens. The tension is supposed to be in the person, like in the viewer, before they watch porn. Like, that's what porn is for.
Oh.
Somebody's in the mood, and they're like, I gotta watch some porn. Like, that's it, Like, I need some kind of sexual release. And whether or not that's healthy, I don't care. I'm not gonna debate it. People talk about porn addiction or, like, porn reliance. I don't, like, no shits to give right now. But when it comes to trying to mix sexuality and eroticism into something that's at least trying to be a connective work of fiction. Tension, anticipation, all of that has to be part of it. You can't just be like, and then they fuck! Because that's you've been together for 10 years. Congratulations. You get birthday sex, Christmas sex, and, long weekend sex.
Yeah. For obvious reasons, for anyone who's listened to this show before, porn is not super fun for me. So when I'm watching the 50 Shades movies, I really am watching it for the story. And there's just not enough. At least, but again, there's a quality drop off, is all I'll say. Which wasn't, I wasn't. I thought the first one was the basement, but looking back, there's some good shots in that movie, I guess.
Well, didn't the third one get a new director? Didn't they fire the director after the first two or something?
I can't even remember, truthfully.
I heard something like that. Not because I pay attention to these things, but because I sort of run adjacent to people who pay attention to these things, Leon, for example.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway, I feel like I've blabbed on.
Austin,
I was looking for
Austin, talk to me.
I was looking for a place in that conversation to insert the porn parody title "Pricks and Procreation," but I couldn't find a good place to put it, so I'm putting it here now.
Good for me.
All right. I thought of it, and I was just gonna let it go to waste, and then I had it, so now you all have it.
Did you come up with that?
Yeah. What do you think I'm doing when I'm not talking on this show?
I love you, brother.
Oh my God. Austin, what would you like to talk about this week while we have time before questions?
Let's see. I have a lot of things. I played a game. I played a lot of games. That's my life.
I like games.
Yeah. So there's a game I played recently called Darksiders 2. Which, before I played it, my memory of it, my knowledge of it is completely dominated by Johnny's Scottish accent. Because when I think he played it, or when we worked at Blister Thumbs or something, when it came out, that we had a discussion about it, and all he did was this extremely exaggerated Scottish accent of the way that people talk in the first part of that game. Johnny, do you want to refresh our memories?
There's a bit where you go to sort of a hub area. And it's pretty affected. It was a bit much for me, as somebody who grew up under a Glaswegian mom. Yeah. So some of the people that you meet, particularly this one character that you meet, gets really all "Oh well." If you're going to this area, then you're gonna need some weapons to help you out. It's really fucking fat bastard kind of shit, you know?
I've been waiting all week to try to bully you into doing that voice.
And the funny thing is that's not actually the way that I normally do my Scottish accent.
Yeah. No, it's specifically the Darksiders 2 accent.
Yeah. Specifically.
All right, so I played the game, and if you'll recall, it was one of a string of failures that resulted in THQ going under. The property has been spinning. Yeah.
Hang on. There's a lot more to THQ going under than the games they made.
It's like I said, a string of things.
They spent a lot of money on peripherals and things like that, and trying to do their own semi-game system. And
are you telling me you didn't love the UDraw tablet?
Look, there was a lot of potential there. You could draw on it, as it suggests. You draw.
Anyway, it was not a success, is what I'm trying to say, and it's been acquired by the company that's now going by the name THQ Nordic.
Yeah,
used to be I think Nordic Games,
who are making a third one now as well. Actually,
yes,
Darksiders 3.
Yeah, I assume most people know, but if you don't, Darksiders is a game about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, and each game stars a different horseman as they go through a pretty rote adventure to fight like D-list characters from
Somebody-
Spawn, essentially.
Somebody triggers the apocalypse kind of like prematurely. And in the first game, War kind of comes to Earth and is like, what the fuck? You weren't supposed to do this. And then he fights a bunch of dudes.
All the plots are like, and then fighting happens.
Yeah, and the second one is Death.
Yes. And the game is probably most notable for the art style done by an artist named Joe Maduria. Someone else help me. He goes by Joe Mad usually because his last name is hard to say.
Yeah.
But he's famous for doing like comic books like X-Men and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a very distinctive style. Once you've seen it, like you'll know it anywhere.
And it's good in Darksiders 2 as well.
It is very itself. I think it might be an acquired taste because it's very everyone is.
It adheres to the mood. You know,
Yeah,
like when
it's
you
all
when you
very
see a band
exaggerated.
poster for a death metal group, and it looks like Norman Rockwell, you're like, it's realistic, and I guess his like shading is okay, but is that the right thing?
But it's a PG-13 version of like heavy metal. It's not like fucking
Yeah.
Children of Bodom or like Anal Cunt or any of those like really fucking hardcore bands. It's like something that you're like, oh, you could take a high school student to, and they wouldn't feel out of place.
It's 14-year-old edgelord.
Yeah, basically, there's very little actually objectionable content. There's like little splashes of blood here and there, but like nobody curses or anything. It's like the chibi version of metal. It mostly works. I think it actually looks better not in motion. So one of my problems with the game is the enemies are kind of hard to read. Like people talk about Dark Souls a lot, how it has such specific, deliberate animations, and the hitboxes are so good, and it feels like this really tactical, the pattern recognition and reflexes. In Darksiders, the art makes it kind of a blurry mess a lot of times. Like you can't tell like where one person starts and where they begin because they're all just fucking pauldrons on pauldrons on pauldrons and skulls on top of skulls, and there's fire and just it's just like a kind of chaotic mess sometimes.
Now, I assume you're playing the remastered version that they released?
I think you'll find that it's called the Definitive version.
Yes, of course. I forgot.
Yes, I am on PlayStation 4. It has some DLC stuff I didn't tuck into, but I beat the main campaign. And there's not really much to the story, right? Like they're the four horsemen. There are people fighting, so you fight them.
Yeah.
And like anytime anyone tries to talk to Death about the story, he's like, I don't care.
But that scene where you run up the anchor chain to the fucking airship
with the dragons on it.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, there are some good tableaus. Like I dig it, but it's also it's corny, but in a way that I don't mind.
Yeah.
The thing about the games is that they always are biting other styles.
Now,
so
as a game,
the first Darksiders was famously just basically Zelda. Yeah, the gameplay. The art's very original, as we said, but like the gameplay of the first one was just Zelda. The gameplay of the second one is like God of War combat with a kind of Diablo-esque loot system, and it has like a kind of bad open world. It's mostly they just put a bunch of space in between things because he's a horseman, so they have to give him a horse, and like what's a horse for?
It reminded me of those segments in the original Halo where it was like, get on this hover bike because we have hover bikes.
Yeah, go for 20 seconds that way for the rest of the level. Yeah, so like it's not impressive from a video game like playing perspective. Like the dungeons are fine. They have like some Uncharted climbing. There's a part where you get a portal gun, literally just a portal gun. It even has like the same symbols for the like the fucking, it looks like almost like an Aperture Science logo for where you shoot and stuff. Like they're not even trying to hide it. It has a mechanic that's very much like a bunch of indie games where you have to like split off into multiple people to hold down switches. Like there's no originality in any of that. The combat isn't great. It's basically just God of War, the old God of War. It's this fucking perfectly average. It is like the platonic ideal of a 5 out of 10 ass video game. Like it's just okay. It's perfectly adequate. I don't have strong feelings about literally anything in it. But it is notable for being like one of the last big releases from a pretty important publisher before they went under, and now it's getting a sequel that nobody really asked for from a company. We don't know if they're legit, like how much resources they're putting in. It is kind of a weird, interesting series. I take it that you guys don't have any strong opinions about the series besides the accent. Do you guys, are you familiar with this comic book work? You guys like comics?
I am
do.
tangentially familiar with it, yes.
I read comic books when I was younger, but I don't anymore.
Do you know a lot of artists by names? Leon, for the audience, Leon dipped out. Maybe he didn't hear me talk about Joe Mad, the guy who does the art for this. So for the audience, Leon just said some really funny stuff. Probably the only funny stuff he said all episode, and he's going to edit it out because he's a coward. Anyway.
Yeah, it was really mean-spirited, really,
Yeah.
and I'm uncomfortable with it.
That's cool. So I played it. It's fine. I'm not, like, clamoring for a third one, but the series is still out there. I'm interested to see if they actually tried anything original. If it's just like, hey, there's a series that kind of does what every other series does, but just a little bit worse. Anyway.
It's still kind of bankable, like, in a way. There's been a weird kind of nostalgia wrapped around the Darksiders games.
It's like B- tier. Like, it's not AAA, but it's not like indie. It's just like the kind of game they don't really make anymore.
For years I've been talking about how we need those kind of like middle ground games. And if the third one releases at an affordable price, like, I was going to talk about this very quickly later on in the episode, but like Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, it came out at like $30 or $40 or something like that.
Yep,
And it was
self-published.
But yeah, and it was like, whoa, nice, you know. If they did that, if they went that route, I think it could sell fucking gangbusters.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say, because I'm sure a lot of people who talk about this game are only, tangentially familiar with the source material. So a lot of people probably say, like, oh, the first game was war, the second game was death, and the other two horsemen in the series are Fury and Strife. And the layman's
I'm upset.
Well, I was going to say, the layman's understanding is like, oh, that's not the other two. And I just want to say, if you actually read the Bible, it's not probably what you're thinking. There's a lot more ambiguity about what the horses like are and what they represent than you may think. Like, I don't know what kind of Sunday school y'all went to, but I would look at the text again, because actually you'll find it's not super clear, especially depending on the translation.
I'm actually upset that Death's horse wasn't white.
I'm trying to remember what it even was. I think he was just black.
It was like a fucking skull horse shit.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah. So, this is the fucking lamest thing I've said on this show in a while, but I would go back and read Revelation if I were you, because I think some of the imagery you think you know in that book is not actually there. So, that's all I'll say.
Yeah. Speaking as someone who had to make an entire movie that's partly about just that book, it's tamer than you think. It's like a letter to people, like, to give them ideas about how they should run their churches in a very specific time.
It's a subtweet to fucking Emperor Nero. It's
that too. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. It's like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Lamb?
Hey, wouldn't it be cool if Lamb?
Right. Basically that's the subtitle. I'm done now with that. That's Bible corner for me.
Yeah.
We should probably get into questions if we're going to do both questions and talk about that movie.
Yeah, we should. So let's get into the questions here. Dark Kent Reltnark asks thoughts on the Donald Trump star incident. So his Hollywood star or whatever got fucking demolished, I think, for the second time.
Good.
Do we have strong opinions?
First it was just vandalized. Mm-hmm. This time somebody took a fucking pickaxe to it.
Yeah, it's gone. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leon, if you act out in any way, you're just making it easier for them to do all the things they're going to do anyway.
With impunity.
Yeah, I don't know. At some point, we have to recognize that nothing we do is ever going to be good enough for those kind of people, so fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go on. This is an easy one. Consumerist Skeleton at Woodborg Ninja on Twitter asks, best, parentheses, non-bloody roar, fighting game. Soul
Bushido
Calibur
Blade.
2. It's Soul. You're close, but it's Soul Calibur 2.
No, it's Bushido Blade.
I'm gonna have to say you're in the right neighborhood, but it is Soul Calibur 2.
I'm a little skeptical, Austin.
I like that.
Are you heat stroking right now? Are you okay being down in Florida in this kind of temperature?
I like Bushido Blade. My main problem with it is that it's not Soul Calibur 2.
I feel the same way, and that Soul Calibur 2 is alright, but you know what? It's just not Bushido Bladey enough.
I think Bushido Blade would be a lot better if it was Soul Calibur 2. That's my main critique. If I had to come at it from any
fucking Christ.
Leon, answer. That's how you'll stop us.
Oh, I guess my favorite fighting game of all time is probably Mortal Kombat 2. It was yeah, that was the one that was fun, and I went to a bunch of different arcades to play it a lot. And it was here's the thing about playing.
I can respect that choice, just so we're clear.
Yeah, here's the thing about playing like the first like 2 Mortal Kombat games back in the day. There wasn't so much the internet, so like
there wasn't so much the internet. Okay,
there wasn't.
So right, there really wasn't. And here's the thing about that. Early Mortal Kombat games were filled with all these secrets and rumors, and some of them were bullshit, but some of them turned out to be true. And people would spread these rumors and legitimate secrets all the time, and it became like a really hot topic at arcades and on the playgrounds and things like that. And it was exciting to hear someone say, "Hey, I hear when you do blah blah blah, you can get Sonya Blade in Mortal Kombat 2 if you just do this just right." And I'm like, I can't even tell you how much time I spent trying to get characters in Mortal Kombat 2 that definitely were not in that game. But
then there were secret characters like fucking Smoke.
Yeah, there was Smoke and Noob Saibot, and that I hope I said that right.
Yep,
you did.
Okay, good. So yeah, there were lots of like secrets and weird things, and and here's the thing: like the arcade game came like in its first version, but then different versions of the game came out in arcades.
Yeah,
and,
actually,
like,
these two things combined, because once the internet like was more popular and people started putting the secrets online, they would actually update the machines to thwart them. That they changed the fatalities and stuff. Ed Boon has since said that was a mistake in refusing to acknowledge the internet and trying to fight it, because you can't. But it's like this whole thing where the early days of internet adoption, people were all in denial that you could try to keep stuff secret. So it's like the end of that era as well as a good example of it.
Yeah. And on the negative end, I just want to say that I feel like Mortal Kombat 3 did too much.
There were a whole lot.
They had too many characters. There was just like too much shit that they added. Like,
especially when you got to Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah. It just Mortal Kombat 2 was the great precise experience between the naivete of Mortal Kombat 1 and like the overindulgence of Mortal Kombat 3.
I enjoy those early games, but I think pretty objectively that the later games like 9 and X are better, and I enjoy them more because just they're like deeper and they have more character depth
but
and
Austin,
stuff and
those games came out in the past 10 years.
Nostalgia
we're talking
is a
to
disease.
Yeah, no, it's not even a nostalgia thing. It's just I haven't played them thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that was fun. I mean, I'm not like a huge fighting game person, or barely even a game person. But yeah, that's the one that comes to mind.
I'm glad that we all agreed on Bushido Blade. Next question.
I mean, I didn't want to get into it, but the actual answer is Super Smash Brothers. I just don't want anybody adding me about what's a fighting game, because I will block you. I absolutely will.
I'm totally down with that being a fighting game. Actually, the Smash Brothers games, totally.
Yeah. I might change my answer now.
Okay.
But yeah,
I've never.
I don't know if you guys are.
them.
I don't know what you guys know about the community, but that's an actual bee's nest that I don't want to step on.
I know.
So.
Oh.
Fuck them. This is a good one. Sheer Deutsch on Twitter asks thoughts on Joel Schumacher's Falling Down.
I haven't seen it.
Oh my god!
I really liked it.
Okay, so this is what
It was huge when I was young.
Yeah, I know. I watched it and I liked it a lot, but I read this question and I realized, oh god, I think I like a fucking bad movie. I think so Leon hasn't seen it and maybe our audience hasn't. It's a movie about this like middle-aged white-collar dad guy. He's like divorced and his job sucks and it's hot outside and he's just fucking pissed.
And it was made back in fucking like 1995 or something, 94?
93. I just looked
93.
It up.
Mid-90s, yeah. I remember it was pre-Fight Club because people like talk about them kind of in the similar vein, where it's like he doesn't have any real problems, but everything's just kind of pissing him off. He's stuck in traffic, so he just gets out of his car, gets a gun, and just starts killing annoying people.
Yeah.
just like shoot. I think the first person he kills is like an accident. He fires a gun near somebody and they have a heart attack. But after that, he just starts like he kind of goes on like a righteous rampage. And when I was like, I watched it and I was like, I don't know, 10, and I was like, yeah, this is badass. Fuck those guys. And now I'm like, oh god, it's a skeleton meme movie for tryhards.
Yeah.
It's a fucking edgy edgelord fucking Jared Leto Joker movie.
Yeah, just looking at, I'm just reading the Wikipedia page, and I don't want to pre-hate a movie, but damn, this looks like the kind of movie where I would make an episode about it and talk about how it's how terrible it is, on like a Jesus, never mind. No,
it is ripe for reevaluation. It was pretty well received when it came out, if I recall right. I think a lot of people who have seen it enjoy it, but I think upon reexamination, most people would admit it's actually pretty fucked up because it presupposes this kind of like might makes right, like the American male is the arbiter of who deserves to live and die.
No, oh god, that was totally not how I saw it at all. Actually.
I think there is an argument that it's satire, right? That we're not supposed to agree with him. I just don't think that's how most people read the movie. But go on, Johnny.
When I saw it, I basically the first time I saw it, I was a little bit older. I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it when I was like 16 or something like that. And when I saw it, like what I took from it was the frustration of the middle class.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely, that's the whole thing, is he's annoyed about a bunch of minor things that happen to people every day, and that's what pushes him over the edge. And there's an Iron Maiden song about this movie called, I believe, Man on the Edge.
But the thing is that this is, like, Joel Schumacher is a man of ideas who is awful at executing them. Just, like, awful. 8mm phone booth.
I didn't hate Phone Booth.
It was, yeah, but I didn't hate.
It was a long time ago.
I know, I didn't hate isn't like I liked. It's like I spent some time with it and I didn't regret it, but I had ice cream, so. The number 23. That fucking Jim Carrey movie. Right? You guys
I haven't seen it, but I know.
Oh god. Even fucking Tigerland. Right? Now, okay, like I fucking rain on Terrence Malick all the time, right? But Tigerland came out around the same time as Thin Red Line. And I was like, one of these movies is better, and it's not Tigerland. So, like, he does this. Like I said, he's a man of great, like, he'll see something and be like, yeah, that, or I have this great idea, or. And then when it comes into being, it doesn't work. So I was kind of forgiving of Falling Down in that sense, because I was even aware of it at that time.
I think it's so messy that I think it opens itself to so many interpretations. I think you could watch that movie and be like, yeah, this guy rules. He's taking down these people who suck. Or you could watch it and be like, yes, a dark look into the heart of the angry middle class American.
Yeah.
Or you could be like, all these exaggerated people in this farcical take on America's problems. Like it leaves
anything. A lot to interpretation. Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. I think it does kind of deserve a better look these days. I haven't seen it, like I said, in like 20 years. But I remember when I saw it, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I still remember
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
As the only one who hasn't seen this movie, what do you think what interpretation do you think the target audience of this movie is going to take away from it?
Awesome!
That's why I said
Yep.
it's talked about a lot in the same breath as Fight Club, because they came around, both in the mid-'90s when America wasn't in perpetual forever hell war, and we didn't have that many serious problems.
And people
stuff,
figured that masculinity meant asserting your dominance by violence.
Okay. I don't know if we've ever asked this one before, but maybe it couldn't hurt to ask again. Zoen Lenosk asks to Leon, how do I get into watching Star Trek? It's so big and full of seasons. I don't know where to start. Leon, it's so big and full of seasons.
Yeah.
It is big and full of seasons. Look, if you're a modern TV watcher, the series you should probably watch is Star Trek Deep Space Nine, because it is the most modern. It has modern sensibilities in the sense that it has like long season. It has these season-long arcs,
which will take a little bit of time to get to.
It will. The first season is not like that, really, and the second season it barely touches upon it. But then the show is the show.
Yeah.
But the second season is actually very good and has a lot of great standalone episodes. So it's not the kind of show where you should start in the third season.
It's also the Star Trek show that has the best first season.
I didn't used to think that at all. No.
Did you watch Encounter at Farpoint recently?
Listen. Hold on. I used to think that the first season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine was awful, and I still think it's its weakest.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
But looking back on it, and also recently watching the first season of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and just knowing what Enterprise was,
and also Voyager, because
I like the first season of Voyager. It has a lot of good episodes.
But it was weak. Like all of the characters were super playing up to their tropes. And then Cass was just nobody.
I disagree that it's the best Star Trek first season. I think at best it's passable.
Okay,
sorry.
what's the best first season of Star Trek then, Leon?
It's Discovery.
Does that count?
It is. Yep, it does. It does. It's the only one that's like legitimately good.
Okay, if it counts, I agree.
Yeah, I mean that's the weird thing. Like the show has barely started, and there's only been one season.
I know, but it's
it might end up being the worst Star Trek series of all time. But the first season is actually good, except for the pilot.
Cool your jets of like classic, non-J.J. Abrams influenced Star Trek.
It's not J.J.
I know, but it's J.J. Abrams influenced Star Trek.
Fair enough. It's still the Prime Universe, but not counting Discovery. No, I still disagree. I still think Voyager's first season is better than Deep Space Nine's first season, and then every season of Deep Space Nine is better than every other season of Voyager. It's just I think Voyager did one thing really well, and then it started strong. It did. No, I shouldn't say that. It did plenty of things well. The best thing I could say for it is that it started strong. That's my opinion. Some people disagree, and that's fine. I'm just still right. I do. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm going. I went way off the topic.
I agree with you. Deep Space Nine is probably the easiest to get into, to get like that Star Trek flavor.
Yeah.
I'm still down with saying that my favorite Star Trek is The Next Generation.
That's
As you may have
fine.
guessed from earlier in this episode, when I commanded the Enterprise D, and I put the D deep into space.
You're just trying that one out again, so you can get a reaction this time, huh?
I went into space, and then I came back.
Yeah, warp speed.
And you know what? Okay. I'm going to go back in again.
Mm-hmm.
Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek, and that's the one you should watch.
And
I think you should watch the episode where Spock gets so horny he almost dies.
Austin?
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to shoot my phaser.
Okay. Oh my God! There's a lot of jokes we can make, but let's not.
Are there though? I don't actually know that's true.
Yeah. I want to say hollow dick. Anyway.
Nice.
This is all bad. But yeah, you should start on Deep Space Nine. It's on Netflix. You can watch every season. None of Deep Space Nine is on Blu-ray. It probably never will be. I shouldn't say probably. It currently is not, and there is zero plans for it. But the DVD quality Deep Space Nine you can watch is completely serviceable, and it is a really good show.
I'm still going to stand for Next Generation because I think they have the best cast.
I still disagree, but that we could go on this forever, but we should probably move on to the next
I gotta
question.
say the best Star Trek is definitely Soul Calibur 2.
No, the best Star Trek is obviously The Last Jedi.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Next question from Jay Poirier at Narrowneck on Twitter. Austin, what is your favorite Magic set / block in terms of story and in terms of gameplay? Gameplay is easy. Dominaria that came out earlier this year, just an incredible design. Some of the best stuff they've ever put out. It's great and limited. It's great and constructed. Flavorful. Just amazing. Best story is very subjective, obviously. I personally am a big fan of Mirrodin and that stuff. Like if you said, Austin, you have to pick just one, probably the end of the Mirrodin as we know it story in New Phyrexia, partially because of all of the characters who are involved, who I like a lot. Like Elspeth is there, Venser's there. It's good stuff. Glissa gets the end of her story. But also they really flesh out the villains, the Phyrexians, who in the early Magic story are just kind of evil for evil's sake. They're like the big bad for the whole like beginning of Magic. They're basically like robot zombies, and they want to make everybody robot zombies. In New Phyrexia, they take over the entire plane of Mirrodin. They kill everyone, like basically everyone on an entire plane of existence. It's like they win. The bad guys straight up win, which is also really cool. Like you don't see that in a lot of mainstream storytelling. But also they get more complex because they have like 5 different leaders who have different philosophies about why they're doing what they're doing, which is the first time. And, I don't know. It's been like 8 years since that set came out. So it's been like 17 years of Phyrexian stories where they don't really have motivations until then. And so you get like perspective on why they want to be robot zombies. And there's actually 5 different outlooks. And then one of them betrays the rest of them. It's really cool. So I think Dominaria is probably the best set they've ever done. New Phyrexia is my favorite, is as a conclusion to the Mirrodin story, which we still haven't gone back to. They're still out there. Like, the Phyrexians just killed everyone and took that place over, and someday they're going to figure out how to get out of there. I assume that's going to happen after they deal with Nicol Bolas, which is going to happen in the next year or 2. So that is my answer to that question. Every time I talk about Magic Story, I feel like you guys are going to underestimate me and be like, Austin, you can't possibly have more. And I always have more. You don't understand. This well goes so deep. It's an underground river. Underground sea.
I've known this man for years. Like, come on, people. Don't step to him.
No, don't do it. I'll fuck you up. So I see we are about 10 minutes left.
He'll give you the magic.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There are other good questions, but we have to talk about the movie of the year. At least the movie of the summer.
Okay.
And everyone's not talking about it. They should be.
But
Before we do, I'm just gonna quick lightning round 2 topics. All right.
Okay.
No Man's Sky. New update next. Dropped the other day. Holy shit.
I saw they added a cute bat creature. I love it.
Not just a cute bat creature, but like everything about the game has fucking changed almost. The landscape design, like there's a third person you can customize character. There is multiplayer where you can actually like bring people in and go around the fucking galaxy together. It is like it's if not the game that Hello Games wanted to make, it's so fucking close, which makes me feel like Sony Games was like, we spent so much money on hyping you up, you have to release it now. And they were like, we're not done. And Sony was like, fuck you. And they were like, okay. Like, it's almost like it came out as an early access game, and now, a couple of years later, it's finally becoming the game. So if you guys have already bought it and you were like, I didn't fucking like it, try it again with the new update. Fucking amazing.
It also just shows how game development is really messy, and you have no idea. Like, most people don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh, The Witcher was downgraded in development. It's like, no, just shit changed, dog.
Yeah.
Like, No Man's Sky is a totally different game, because that's just how making games is.
It really is. You know, you reach a point in time where you're like, okay, well, we have to cut this out because we don't have the time. We got to put this in because we told people we were going to have it, but then, well, you know, like, the engine only accounts for this, and we can't code around it, and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's pretty fucked up.
Or we tried it and it sucks, which is apparently what happened with the sandworms that were in the trailers. They're like, we put them in, they sucked, so we took them out.
I'm telling you, like, try the game if you still have it and you got fed up. It is, it's fucking beautiful right now. And like the land generation is different, the creature generations are all like fucked up. I love it, and I've only played it for like an hour and a half or something like that. Go for it. Second, quick lightning round topic. Apparently, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is coming to VR next week, so I'm going to try that. And if you see a news story about a man in Vancouver running down a street naked with a sword, that's probably me. So yeah, that's going to be a thing. All right, now, let's talk about a movie.
Full
Spoiler
spoilers.
alert!
Yeah, get the fuck out if you don't want spoilers. Go and spoil this bitch. It's really good.
What?
Yeah, it
What
is.
the fuck? It's
All right.
That is such a dense movie.
So who wants to... I'll just set it up, right? Because the trailers make it seem like it's a movie about code switching, which is like talking differently to different people, mostly based in America on race.
And
like,
it is. Like, let's not be clear. Like, it is about code switching.
Yeah, it is, but it's also about a lot of fucking other things.
It's about capitalism.
It's 100% about that.
It's
also
about, like, fucking prison culture.
Yeah, the fucking military-industrial complex, just labor in general, organizing, unions, fucking... Here's the thing. I saw the genre described as science fiction.
It's like, almost.
That's pretty much as close as you can possibly get to trying to describe what the fuck this movie is.
Well, no, I specifically say, like, I tell people, like, it's weird, but it's magical realist is really what it is. Like, it has this spirit of things happening that aren't realistic, but they feel emotionally real. And there's this great scene later where some fucking whack shit happens, and we'll get there. But a character says, like, well, yeah, people can get used to non-whack shit. Like, I think he says people get used to anything.
Yeah.
It has to be weird, or you can just ignore it. And that's, like, what the movie's about. And that scene ties it all together so well. It's an incredible movie. It's so funny. The fucking fashion, her fucking earrings. Holy shit, guys. This movie has so much style.
I really loved, sorry, just as a one-off gagged, I really loved, my name is Diana Debaucherie. That looks like debauchery. Well, it's not.
There's with that character especially, there's a lot of fucking that elevator where, oh god. All right. Leon, I've been so excited to get your opinions. You're the smart movie guy.
Am I? Okay. Well, here's my... If I had to, like, write a, like, blurb for the movie and explain how I feel about it, I love movies that give me something when after it's over, I think, I didn't know how much I needed that. Like, when people say entertainment is about giving the audience what they want, I strongly disagree with that. Some people think that's respecting your audience. I think that's flattery. I like that this movie instead gave me something I not only was not expecting, but after it was over, I felt like this is a movie that I always wanted to see, but never knew I wanted to see it. And that's what this kind of movie was. If I mean full spoilers, let's just jump into like exactly what happens in this movie.
The only thing anyone's going to talk about this movie like after the spoiler period is over. It's like going to be known
song, right?
No,
that's like the only thing that people are going to talk about.
My theater full of middle-aged white people lost their fucking minds. They could not. Someone fucking walked out.
Yeah. Another thing that this movie kind of touched upon, which Get Out touched upon, is like commodification of blackness.
Yeah.
Yes, and
yes.
there's going to be a lot of think pieces wrote about like, ooh, the new racial horror is what I've been thinking of it as, or like the new wave of black film, and it's like Get Out, and then Sorry to Bother You are going to be the ones that are talked about a lot, and there's good reason, but they're also very different in really interesting ways.
Yeah. There was that scene. There was a scene where he was wandering through fucking Armie Hammer's mansion, trying to find the door to his office, where I was like, "Holy shit!" Like this is like that. I immediately, like, the first thing, because I thought I saw a preview for Spike Jonze's new movie. Or was it Spike Jonze?
Spike Lee.
Yeah, Spike Lee's new movie. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
And I was like, oh, hey, that looks interesting. Is it Blind Spotting? Is that what it's called? No.
No. Do you mean Black Klansman?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna see that.
Yeah.
But then, like this scene where he's wandering through this wooden mansion with all these green doors, looking for like the mauve one, or like the magenta one, or whatever it is. I was like, holy fuck! Like, and I'm nervous saying this as a white guy, but I'm like, holy fuck! Black art has kind of reached a postmodernism awareness about itself.
Jesus. So here's look, everyone listening to this, just stop listening to this right now and go see the movie.
We were beating around the bush so hard.
Yeah. All right. So
oh god.
If you absolutely have to have this movie spoiled for you and have all the twists ruined for you, here's what happens in the movie. So there's a guy, and his name is Cassius, and he gets a job.
Cash Green.
Yes, his name is Cash Green, and he gets a job working as a telemarketer, and he turns out he's really good at it when he uses a white voice on the phone, and then and the other people are not, I guess, are not as thrilled about their jobs as he is.
Just him using a white voice, but they actually dub in Cassius Green. It's David Cross. Steve Buscemi Steve Buscemi plays
Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Oh, yeah, and Patton Oswalt plays another.
But yeah, the point is that when they use their white voice, it's not just like, them being like, "Hello, sir." It's actually like the whitest of white guys.
Right. So he is about to be promoted, and everyone is unionizing, and he basically says, "Well, I want the promotion, and you guys can, fight the power while I be the power."
It's none of my business anymore.
Yeah, it becomes like a is this guy selling out story, and then it becomes there are horse people.
There's a class struggle in there first.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I understand. We can't run down the whole movie. We only have so much time. But the point is that the company is making horse people, and as a new
they're cheap labor, and they don't just like lead up to this. There's all this subtext in the movie beforehand about this company,
there's a lot of slavery
about this
stuff.
company called Worry Free, where like you sign a contract with them and it's like, congratulations, you're employed for life, but here's the deal: you have to live in our facilities, we feed you. You like everything that you do, you have to live here. It's basically like prison work. And for the whole movie, people are like, "This is like slavery." But one of my fucking favorite scenes was when they do MTV Cribs, but they do it from like inside. And the guy is like, yeah, so this is what it's like to live inside Worry Free, and we hang out here, and this is my bed, and this is my friend's bed, and his wife sleeps in there with him, and look, we get lights, and we get to eat dinner here, and he like takes a spoonful of something, and he's like,
Yeah. Basically, the long and short of the movie is that no matter how fucked up something is, people can get used to it, and basically and just pay attention to their own shit.
And they're going to make horse people because they're stronger and they're cheaper labor and, you know.
It's about dehumanization, right? The
Yeah.
labor dehumanizes them literally, and then later they are dehumanized on just a profoundly biological level by science fiction. There's also a lot of foreshadowing of the horse stuff. Like, they do coke off a plate with a horse on it at one point. There's I've spent like an hour and a half.
I think the earliest foreshadowing it is the book cover with the big white owner of the company. He's on a horse, and it's I forget the title of it, but it's something like that. Point is, it doesn't.
Man of the
it
year,
seemed
though, right?
it's a great twist that seemed. I heard someone once said, I can't remember who said it or exactly in what words, but the best twist is one that you never saw coming, but then when it happens, it makes perfect sense.
And that is absolutely bar none. That's the best way to describe this movie. It goes sideways, like all of a sudden, you're just like, what the fuck? Oh,
but then after
okay,
a minute, you're like, yeah, wait a minute, yeah, this actually makes perfect sense for this movie.
But
okay.
I think it's going to put a lot of people off. Like, when I was talking about this last week, I was like, everyone needs to go see this. I know it's not going to be to everyone's taste. It's a little hard to recommend because the third act is so strange and repellent. I think it's important. I think it ties into the themes. I think it's unforgettable and bold, and I love it. I also recognize that a lot of people are going to hate it and say it's like weaker and it fails the rest of the themes of the movie, or that they just thought it was too weird and gross. There's also just a lot of floppy dicks. There's just a lot of floppy dicks.
It does not fail the themes of the movie, though.
I agree. I'm saying I've seen those hot takes that people say that like it becomes about something else and forgets about the things it was trying to talk about before. So
no.
Okay, I'm just saying it's out there.
Like it just just takes it one step further each time the movie progresses. And it gets to the point where it's fucking absurd.
Because the system is absurd.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Is that like right from the beginning, everything is just like a little bit absurd. Because they do things like introduce worry-free right away. They're like,
it takes place in the like It Follows universe where it's almost like ours, but just a little to the left, or to, just a little different. I used left unconsciously, but there's literally a political group called Left Eye, which there's no subtlety. Like, I was screaming cash green earlier because it's so important to me that this movie isn't subtle. Because why the fuck would you be subtle about any of this? It's to your oppressor's benefit to tread lightly.
Yeah.
I really loved the director tweeted about this. Someone said like, "Oh, this is the first great movie of the Trump era," and he responded, "I wrote it during the Obama administration."
Nice.
Because we were under the same system. The oppressions haven't changed. There's just a troll person who's executing them, but the it's all the same evil.
Yeah.
He's just really fucking obvious about it.
The system still exists. Like there's nothing different.
Capitalism is not significantly different a year and a half later.
No.
Sadly.
Racism is more extreme,
louder,
but
less educated and more obnoxious.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is very early. I feel like it's literally the second scene where he gets a job in the first scene, and then it cuts to him in bed, and he just says, "Sometimes I think about dying." And it's the best transition ever because it's like literally as soon as he has to work, it's like the death of the self. It is so deeply unsatisfying for him.
I love the scene where he calls the Japanese cell phone company who's sitting on the toilet.
Oh.
And then there's that scene where he's in the office chair, just like leaning real far in and just being like, "Yeah, so here's the deal. I'm in your space. I'm right here."
It's
You
scream
can't
out loud
escape
funny,
it.
dude. It's so funny, this movie, and it's like impossible to do justice to it. But there's also just all the little things, like every single article of clothing and accessories people wear in this movie is perfect. Every shirt that I believe Tessa Thompson's character wears is like it should be a fucking top tier meme. Some of the best things she wears are a shirt that says "The future is female ejaculation."
Yep.
Oh my god, I want that shirt. I want. That's all I could think about.
And the other one is "Tell the DHS that I'm the bomb." That's extremely good. She also just wears fucking earrings of her ex-boyfriends in electric chairs. There's two that just say like murder, 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 and kill, 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 kill. Like she fucking owns in this movie. all that shit is extremely good.
The fucking elevator.
The elevator goes on so long. It's almost like those Family Guy jokes where it stops being funny and then it starts being funny again because it should have ended a long time ago. It's so absurd.
I like. I think I laughed the most during one of the elevator scenes where he's alone in the elevator. He's not with the woman,
Yeah.
and it says something. It says something like, "Yeah, you're in your sexual prime right now. I may be." Maybe a computer, but I wish I had hands or something like that.
I know you have a girlfriend, but if you didn't.
Yeah,
Right.
It's just how broad the different targets are, right? Because it could have been enough to talk about code switching and race and capitalism, but it's also about like the way these things inform sexuality and masculinity.
And that is sorry, that is why I, like, at the very beginning I said this movie is so dense. Like,
Yeah,
it
it's got so
does not
much.
take a moment.
And I worry that people are going to say it tries too much or that it gets confused or it's like, too top heavy or whatever. There's all these like critical readings of this that I feel like are easy to grasp for, to be like, it's ambitious, but ultimately blah, 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 because I went to school.
But it's also fucking interconnected about, like, male superiority, like the American dream, capitalism,
which is
class
literally
struggle.
the military-industrial complex.
It is,
like,
it's fucking beautiful. It just, like, it all fell into place for me. And early on in the movie, and then when it got fucking ridiculous in the third act, I was like, what the shit? No, okay, I can go with this.
Yeah, and I gotta say, as we were leaving the theater, I saw it with my brother, and he said to me, I thought it was going to turn out that he was a robot. But what I heard was I thought it was going to turn out he was a robus, which is a demon from the Lesser Key of Solomon, which is an anthropomorphic horse. And so I looked at him and I was like, holy shit, did you just quote Goetia to me? And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I explained what I had misheard and I was like, oh, the thing you said actually didn't make any sense. My thing was way better.
Like, bar none, it's probably one of the best movies I've seen in years. And it's his first fucking movie, Boots Riley.
He did the soundtrack, which is incredible.
What the shit, man?
Yeah. So I could go on. It's an incredible movie. It's going to be talked about, I think, in a lot of people's imagination as like, it was good, but not as good as Get Out. And also it has a weird third act. And I spent this whole podcast, an hour and a half, thinking like, can't wait to talk about horse dicks. Can't wait to talk about horse dicks. Can't wait to talk about horse dicks. And now we're here and it's like, guys, this movie is so thoughtful and incredible. It has all these things to say and I love it. It's just, it brings out this real genuine excitement in me and I really love it. And I want everyone to see it, even if you don't like it. And a lot of people aren't going to like it. It's not subtle. It's weird. It's aggressive.
Just go fucking see it. Because even if the parts of it that you don't like are there are parts of this movie that you will fucking love.
When you asked to watch the instructional video, we spent a lot of money on this. So weird. Okay.
Yeah, random claymation scene was good.
So weird.
All right, we should leave because I have to eat.
All right.
Anything you guys want to say?
I do have one thing to say. I jumped in here because I don't want Johnny to cut me off with something funnier, and then we have to end.
Okay.
No, I got a serious thing to say, but you go ahead.
Yeah. So my roommate got in trouble at work for being racist.
Oh.
He got in trouble for being racist. He wasn't racist. What happened was he's a cashier at the supermarket and someone tried to go in the 10 items or less aisle with like 14 items or something, and it was a black guy and he said like, sir, you can't come in here, you have to use another aisle. And someone else who witnessed that interaction, a white guy who unrelated to anybody else, reported him to corporate for being racist.
Oh,
so now everyone's like, oh, look, it's the racist. And everyone's like calling him like the Grand Wizard of Tallahassee and stuff. And it's just like this whole thing now. He's just like the racist guy.
Did the customer think that there were still segregated, like...
No idea.
Supermarket aisles?
I don't know. We talked about that. We're like, what was motivating him? Someone's like, I said it's either he was trolling or he was like trying to be like too concerned, like too sensitive. And like, I don't know. I don't know. But that's a weird thing that happened.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a question for the listenership. Okay. Tomorrow, from the day we record this episode, so tomorrow being Thursday, July 26th, a virtual reality game comes out that I have pre-ordered, which allows me to be any one of a number of Marvel Universe heroes. So I want to know, listeners, who you think I'm most like. So in the comments, tell me, like, just one vote each, if you think I am, which I am most like one of the following. And don't worry, there's only 18.
This feels like a Johnny joke where he's going to read a list of every Marvel character.
No.
Just read them off real quick.
All right, so there's Black Panther, Rocket Raccoon, Deadpool, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, the Hulk, Crystal, Black Bolt, Thor, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Star-Lord, Gamora, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Storm, or Iceman. Now, I've been taking votes from people on Twitter and, like, among people I know. And so right now, I've got 4 people for Doctor Strange, 1 person for Captain Marvel, 2 for who I call Sad Deadpool, 1 for Black Bolt, 5 people for Spidey in the lead, and 1 person for Wolverine, because apparently I'm Canadian.
You are.
Yeah. Leon,
yeah.
who do you think?
I was gonna say Black Panther because you're the king, man.
All right.
I was going to say you should just wait to play it until they add Jim from The Office.
Come on, Austin, you have to vote.
When I think Johnny, I definitely think the handsomest guy possible. So, let's see here. Is it Hugh Jackman Wolverine?
Well, I mean, you know, it's not like it's classic. It's not like movie stuff. It's Marvel comic book.
Yeah, I gotta go with Wolverine. He's Canadian. He's handsome, strong.
You think Wolverine is handsome?
He's Hugh Jackman in my brain.
You into the butch there? Then?
Austin? I just like
because I can't grow beard, man. You saw Horror Beard.
We did.
Spawn. You should be Spawn. He's not Marvel.
He's not in Marvel.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's leave.
Now that your roses